Stay on the left, okay?
Yeah, I learned that this morning. This is the sweet spot. Perfect. Brilliant. Hey, good evening, good afternoon. Wow, this is bright here. How is everyone doing? Long day. As Laurent said, we are moving, or I'd like to take you on a little journey into the world of sport, really. And probably with that sport analogy, this is a bit like the Tour de France for you. 20 stages, 20 presentations in one day. Good on you. So, respect. I hope we'll make this a bit more lighthearted. We had some heavy-duty stuff in the morning as I tuned in. This is about sport. This is hopefully a lot more emotional, a lot more fun, and a little bit more lighthearted. Before I start, I want to ask two questions to the audience. First question is, who of you, before reading through the agenda for today, has heard of Strava? Can you raise your hand? There's a few. And then who of you who raised your hands are actually active on Strava? That's almost more interesting. Okay, not so many. Excellent. That's a good insight. And I'll jump straight to my first slide. It's vibrating, wow, but it's not doing anything. Here we go. Probably important for all of you who haven't raised their hands. How does Strava actually work and what is it? Laurent gave a little bit of an introduction. It's quite easy. There's a couple of maybe checkboxes that you need to fulfill, if you like, in order to enjoy Strava. So first one is probably you have to have a passion or a love for sport. You have to be active. You got to go out and enjoy the feeling of being out, running, riding, whatever your sport is, really. If you do that, then it would be incredibly helpful if you are willing to track your activity through either, as Laurent mentioned as well, through the app that you see here on the screen, or actually through any GPS device in the world. So what Strava needs in order to connect you with other people is basically your activity and the tracks that you leave through space. That's really the information that then becomes the connective tissue to other friends, and that allows everyone to tell stories. So, recap, you love sport, you track your activities, you turn those activities into a post, you share those activities with that post with your friends, and there we go. That's when the magic happens, where the Strava magic happens, that people just connect, they give each other kudos, they give each other respect, they comment, they basically get excited about that story that you just shared. So I don't like the term personally so much. It's a social network for athletes. I think in Germany, social network comes with a bit of a stigma. So I'd rather refer to it as a digital sports club. It's really the place where you connect with your friends, connect with fellow athletes, and tell stories that way. Nope. Oop. I'm not a pro with these machines. Next question that I quite often get, basically any interview that I give to a journalist or to a media partner or any other partner in the sports industry is usually, hey Paul, how big is Strava? And it's an interesting question. We don't release the actual numbers actually, but obviously we're quite proud of a couple of headlines, how we measure our success and how we measure the impact we have on the sports industry and why Strava is such a phenomenon really in the sports industry, why people fall in love with it and almost get addicted to it. So we noticed, we did a bit of an exercise actually always towards the end of the year, 2017, this past year, we had exactly 16.4 or 0.5 activities uploaded on Strava every single second. So you can tell it's a very big community, it's a very active community, and the magic for me really is every activity that gets posted on Strava isn't like a Google search query. It's an experience, it's an adventure, it's something you just achieved, you share with your friends, and you create a lot of social interaction behind it. So quite a big platform. Other highlights include we have about 140 employees spread across the globe. Our headquarters in San Francisco. We have an office also on the East Coast of the US and a smaller international marketing office in Bristol in the UK. Also worth mentioning, our community of athletes are really spread all over the world. It's a truly global community. You won't find probably a single country in this world where you don't have a Strava upload or an activity that has been shared. And I'll get later in the presentation to a platform how we visualize that, which is quite poetic or quite artistic. The boathouse. You might wonder, why is he talking about a boathouse? The boathouse is central for everyone who's interested in Strava and wants to understand the Strava DNA, what makes Strava different and how we tick, and yeah, what's our point of view on the world of sport. The Boathouse is a place on the Harvard University campus where our two company founders, Michael Horvath and Mark Gainey, met when they were young students. I know exactly the year, that was 1987. They met in that boathouse, they were both in the rowing team, and that's where basically, yeah, they spend a lot of time, they just experienced the magic of being in a sports team and the magic of being in a sports club they experienced there. As their university days came to an end, they decided back in 1987, we want to hang on to that very energy and we don't want to let go of it. We want to carry on with that for the rest of our lives. But obviously, we have to leave university. We're going to get involved in jobs. We have families. So they thought about how can we transport that moment, that magic of sitting in a boathouse, in a clubhouse, training after training with your fellow athletes, and basically just feel that joy, feel that pride, feel that camaraderie. That was the idea in 1987. It took another 20 years until the technological solution was ready, until GPS devices were made available to the public in the field of sport. And then another 2 years, 2010, 2011, GPS technology was introduced into smartphones. So that happened around 10 years ago, and today, obviously, we still hang on at Strava. We still hang on so tightly to that idea of we're a digital sports club. We want to encapsulate exactly what you see here, or use that analogy of that boathouse, of that clubhouse where people come together. They celebrate the camaraderie. That's exactly what Strava does today, and what creates that unique community of athletes, really. Where does Strava stand 2018 today, right? So again, 30 years have passed since the boathouse moment where Mark and Michael met, came up with the idea. 30 odd years later, we're in a pretty unique space. We obviously have a community of athletes that is unheard of, unparalleled in terms of engagement, but also in terms of sheer scale. Also, and that's worthwhile mentioning, we have a very unique position in the marketplace. Unlike other tracking apps per se, I need to step back a little, isn't a new idea, right? There's loads and many tracking apps in the marketplace, but Strava is unique in a sense that we are not owned by a hardware manufacturer. So we weren't bought up by Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, Essex, you name it. We're independent, and we can run our own agenda that way. We can continue to build that camaraderie, that boathouse idea, that clubhouse mentality we can continue to live on. And that's really powerful and provides a unique opportunity for us. We don't have to sell shoes from the people that bought us or t-shirts. We can just build that social network, that digital sports club. There was one more point that I wanted to mention on that slide. And that is, often I get asked also by journalists, they ask me, so Paul, when do you start building GPS devices? Or when do you start to expand into that world, into the sport industry to make money? And the clear answer is we won't. Absolutely no interest. It's not on strategy. It's not what we want to do, where we want to be. It's really, we want to be a digital sports club. We want to build a community, and that's it. So we're staying away from GPS devices. Other brands do that, and they do it better than us with a complementing software product. So that's kind of the roundhouse kick, what Strava is. Hope everyone gets it. I wanted to maybe talk about 2 or 3 features that make us different or are unique to Strava, and how the analogy to this picture is maybe how we can be helpful for athletes and why people engage with us, they love us, and they get addicted to us. So how do we become the plaster on a marathon runner's nose? How do we become helpful? Anyone knows this young gentleman here waving at the camera? Any French fellow countrymen here in the room? There's Romain Bardet, merci. That's exactly right. Romain Bardet had an amazing Tour de France, obviously, last year, 2017. Won the 12th stage of the Tour de France with an amazing ride. He uploaded his activity on Strava, which we love. And I think there's really two takeouts for me on this very slide here. Number one is, we have pros on Strava, like Romain Bardet. We have a density that is unparalleled. It's almost like the Olympic Games happen every day on Strava from all different sports. We have world champions, gold medal winning athletes from cycling, from running, from ski racing, you name it. And that's really magical. And the pros go onto Strava because they love it. It's not because we pay them. We don't spend a single dollar of our marketing budgets on it. People come to us. Those athletes come to us. They see value in it. It's entertaining for them. They have a real and authentic interface to their fans. They can show off their training, their races, all their athletic achievements. So really strong and powerful and a real phenomenon. The other point about this is on the right-hand corner for you guys. 22,000 kudos. A kudos is a sign of respect on Strava. So you basically click the thumbs up button. We call that a kudos. And that kudos is a real currency in the world of sports. And it's also obviously a real Strava property. You don't find that anywhere else. And I think it's in our world, and I'm getting a tiny bit philosophical here maybe, and in our days, our day and age, a like on Facebook is worth nothing almost, because people just mechanically, tag, I like that, or on Instagram or any other social network. On Strava, a kudos has real currency. And Romain Bardet actually broke our record, all-time record of most kudoed activity with his 12th stage last year. And it's really such a beautiful illustration or metaphor for, how people love to follow their pros, their idols, and really give them kudos, give them respect, build them up. And it's exactly why Strava is so successful, because it's the most authentic way of getting feedback from fellow athletes. So really our DNA, again, going back to the boathouse, to the clubhouse idea. Next one, and I need to pick up the pace a little bit, is an idea that looks pretty lame, not so exciting. This is the illustration of a Strava segment. But again, the Strava segment is an incredibly powerful metaphor from us. A Strava segment is basically a product functionality we offer that every Strava member, after being active, can go back into his or her own activity and define any piece of the track that they left, any segment of the trace that they left with their GPS signal as their very own personal segment. They can give it a name, and we generate a digital leaderboard behind that piece of trail, behind that segment, and it gets updated every day. And the beauty is, or why it's such a metaphor, we give ownership to our community to run that, to create segments, to be creative with them, to name them, and also to compete with myself in single-player mode that I see on that segment. Do I improve? How am I doing? But also I can compare with a segment with a Romain Bardet. He rides the same segment. He's a Strava member just like me, and I can see how much faster is that guy. And that's pretty amazing. Or it's unique property that Strava offers. And then I mentioned that earlier, the traces that our Strava community leave on a world map is what we call heat maps. That is a public-facing website. Everyone can log on to that. You don't even need to be a Strava member for it. And it's quite a tool that is almost art and sport. So I find it just quite beautiful. But equally, it's a great way to discover and explore if you go to a place where you haven't been before and you're an athlete yourself and you want to know, where should I go ride, or where's a good place to swim or run, no matter what. And that's exactly what you see here. The output is it's interactive, so you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can move that world map, you can find your own front yard, how many Strava athletes are active in your street. And last night I had a little bit of fun there. This is Lake Geneva, and I filtered out just water sports activities because I thought I'm just curious in something quirky. And you see the southern tip there of the lake, how popular it is with water sports, people that engage in water sports. I zoomed in a little bit further, and I wanted to ask the audience. I found out this morning as I went running what this is. This is right in front of our house, right, that corner on the main street here. And I figured out this morning, hey, there's a pool and a sauna. So obviously, the traces that athletes leave there is simply, along those buoys, or they come out of the sauna and go swimming. So quite a mesmerizing picture, and I invite you, obviously, to check out Strava heat maps, see what's going on in your front yard, and get inspired. Go out. And I see time is up, so here we go. That's Strava, really just a glimpse. If you have more questions, Laurent's going to invite you to come and talk to me.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Laurent. Cheers.
Sorry. Here you go. Thanks. So actually, for me, when I do ride something that Romain Bardet does, it's not motivating. It's a bit depressing. But
what's my answer to that?
Only me.
You better start riding more than once a year, then, Laurent.
I know. and remove the little wheels at the back of my bike.
No, the power of pros are really an incredibly strong magnetic force for us. People get inspired by it. They can be so close to their idols, right? Otherwise, it's just they're so removed, and all of a sudden.
That's also the beauty of some of these sports, where athletes are still accessible.
Yeah.
You didn't really talk about the business model of Strava. So how does that work?
I was too emotional. I wanted to talk about the fun stuff. So. Business model also, that was the title of the presentation. Really, it's based on premium subscriptions. So we generate the most of our revenue from.
And so what are the premium services?
Premium services are deeper analytics. That means power and heart rate data you can analyze. It also means a lot of James Bond-like, really future-forward features, real-time featured while you're in activity. So that's to get feedback, how you do on a segment and that sort of stuff.
Maybe liposuction?
We are thinking about that. At the moment, we don't offer it yet, just yet.
That's a cross-selling idea.
Yeah.
What about the demographics using the app? Is there like a specific type of people, or Strava appeals to every type of?
It's funny. I think historically, we come more, and it's maybe more psychographics than demographics. We come from the top end of the pyramid. So it's Romain Bardets of the world. It's pro cyclists. It's really, we started to build credibility there. And as we get older, we start to trickle down and be more open and really just invite everyone, if you have an interest in sport, come and join us, try it out. You don't get spammed with ads and that sort of stuff on our platform. It's, again, the analogy is we're a sports club, digital sports club, and we just want to bring people together.
Wearables were a very hot topic a while ago.
Yeah.
Now, not that much. There's been some pretty big bankruptcies, and Nike pulled their product. Is that a signal that this field is getting tired, or on the opposite, that your approach of using a smartphone and not an extra device, is that a confirmation, or is that a source of worry for you?
Absolutely no source of worry, and I think it goes back to our strategy. We want to be a software product, a platform. We love to see the best hardware solutions in the marketplace, and we'll make sure we offer an integration, a seamless integration, as it's seen today with Garmin, with Polar.
But it's not your job.
Absolutely not our business, not our field of expertise. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Paul Niemeyer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.